the last thing I want to talk to you about is what can you do with that, right? And even you might even look at those statements that we came up with and said, well, that's not enough, or what am I going to do with that? Well, let's talk about when to use a value prop, because there's a lot of different moments where you can use what we just came up with. And so the first one is networking. So one of the most common things that someone will say to you when you're out networking, and this could either be you're at a business networking event, or you might be at a wedding or a birthday party or at the gym, right? And so someone's going to say, what do you do? And the normal response is, especially if you're a salesperson, I sell medical devices. I sell commercial insurance, right? And a lot of times, um, there's a few different things that are might not be great with that, in my opinion. But one thing is that a lot of times the conversation just stops there. Oh, okay, you know. So that's actually a great moment to share your value proposition instead of saying what you sell. So the way that might look, what that might look like is, I work with small businesses and help them to reduce their inventory costs. And that's more interesting. It's less like autopilot-ish. What do you do? I sell this. Oh, okay. Uh, it is so it's kind of a curveball. It invites more conversation. So then the other person might still not follow up with that, and that's probably more of a conversation flaw on their part if they do that. But a very possible response might be, "Oh, interesting. Well, how do you do that, or what do you mean by that?" And that's a really positive thing to happen, because then they're becoming curious and getting it. You're establishing a conversation here instead of, "I sell this. What do you do?" "I sell this." Okay. So, and then you could respond with your value proposition, or no, you've already said your value proposition. So now you can start to talk about your product or what you sell. We provide inventory management software, and that makes it easy to establish just-in-time inventory ordering. So you're getting into product and feature details, and so that's one way to use it. If that was a prospect, you're creating a more engaging conversation, and you're communicating in a more sophisticated way. You're not looking like a pushy salesperson that's going to try to sell something to them. You're appearing more sophisticated, more polished, more consultative, and you're establishing a more engaging conversation. You might end up in this exchange right here. You have shared more information with them than just saying, "I sell inventory management software." Another scenario where you can use your value proposition is cold calling, and use it to open your cold call. And what that might look like is so you call someone, "Hi, this is Martha. Hi, Martha, this is John from ABC Inc. Have I caught you in the middle of anything? I have a minute." "Okay, great. Well, the reason for my call is that I work with small businesses and help them to reduce inventory costs. I'm not sure if we can help you or not, you all or not, and that's why I wanted to ask you a question or two. Are you guys using anything for blah blah blah, or do you guys currently have a just-in-time?" You ask them one of your pre-qualifying questions, but that is a good way to open a cold call. Now, when you're cold calling, you also can face objections. So a common objection from a gatekeeper is when you call someone, they say, "Thank you for calling XYZ. How may I direct your call?" "Miss Wilson, please, may I ask what this is in regards to?" So this is one of the most common gatekeeper objections. And it doesn't sound like an objection, but it's an objection because when they say, "What is this in regards to?" If you answer that with an honest answer, which is, "I'm calling to see if you guys need it, such and such. I'm calling to set an appointment. I'm calling to introduce myself. I'm calling to see what you guys use for blah, blah, blah," right? That's the honest answer for what your call is in regards to. Then the gatekeeper has everything they need to know to get rid of you. And so as soon as you say anything like that, "We're not interested, we don't need any, let me put you into a vendor mailbox. So you don't want to say any of those. Then you don't want to flat out lie. What is this in regards to? Oh, we had lunch the other day, and I wanted to call to see what whatever. You don't want to flat out lie uh, to get past. So what we do is we recommend saying your value proposition at this moment, and it looks like something like this. Well, the reason for my call is that I work with small businesses and help them to reduce their inventory costs. And now, this doesn't necessarily disguise you as that you're not a salesperson, but what it doesn't do, it doesn't give a gatekeeper the clear ding, 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 get rid of this person. It's almost like a curveball. They're looking for you to say, schedule an appointment, see if you guys need to purchase, whatever. They're looking for that clear thing that says salesperson trying to sell something. When you say this, they just don't really know. It throws them off. And I encourage you to try it, and I would love for you to tell us how it goes. But the other thing is that it's also, since you're saying your value, which is always something positive, meaning when it's always something positive, it's really difficult for the gatekeeper to say, we don't need that, or we're not interested in that. It's sort of like saying, I create more peace in the world. It's hard for someone to say, I don't want that, right? I mean, unless they're really like evil, horrible person. Let me think of another example. If you say, I give people handouts of money, right? It's hard for someone to say, I don't need that. I don't want that. I have too much of that, right? So it's very difficult for someone to say, oh, we're not interested in reducing inventory costs. Even if their inventory costs are already low, it's just hard for a gatekeeper to say, oh, we don't need that. So that's one good way to use it. And that same tactic, not only there's other objections that the gatekeeper or the individual prospect will give you that are similar. So it's, what is this in regards to? They also might say, is this a sales call? So those are basically the same thing, and you can respond in the same way. So if the gatekeeper says, is this a sales call? Well, the reason why I'm reaching out is I work with small businesses and help them to reduce their inventory costs. And you just sit there. So you're not really saying yes, you're not really saying no. So something to try. When you leave voicemail messages, you can use what we just came up with. So what that looks like is leave your name and number. Hi, John. This is Sarah from ABC Inc. Purpose of my call is that I work with small businesses and help them to reduce their inventory costs. I actually don't know if you are a fit for what we do. I was just calling you with a question or two. I'll try you next week, blah, blah, blah. So right there, a really good voicemail message, in my opinion. I mean, really good from a standpoint of, is that a voicemail message that John's going to call back? Probably not. If John is, especially, let me back up. I end up on the phone with customers all the time, or potential customers, and they come to me and they're like, people aren't returning my voicemails. If John is a decision maker and you leave the best voicemail, decision makers aren't going to return calls from salespeople. One, they're too busy, they get too many voicemails and whatnot. It doesn't mean for you not to leave a voicemail message and not to leave a good voicemail message, but don't leave voicemail messages in the expectation that they're going to call you back, and when they don't call you back, don't arrive at a place of disappointment. In fact, I honestly, in my experience, when prospects have returned my voicemails, it's almost a negative sign towards them. If someone is returning a voicemail from a cold call, it means that they're not a decision maker, because decision makers don't do that. So you could almost immediately disqualify them as not being the right person for you to talk to. Anyways, so the next one is you can use what we came up with for an email, and what that might look like is this. Hello, John. The reason why I'm reaching out is that I'm with ABC Inc. and we help small businesses to decrease time spent ordering, increase ordering accuracy, decrease time gathering information. I'm not sure if those are areas that you want to improve, and that's why I'm reaching out. Are you available for a brief call? So that is what I would call a pre-call email template. And really you're using your value proposition to create that template. So one thing I want to point out, we did three things there. We brainstormed our value points. We put our value points into value statements or value propositions, and then we use those statements and propositions in different sales scenarios that we just went through. I want to show you a little bit in Sales Scripter real quick how Sales Scripter can help you with those three things. So in Sales Scripter, there's a feature called the Sales Message Builder. And in the Sales Message Builder, there's an area called the Sales Pitch Builder. And in the Sales Pitch Builder, there is a step for coming up with benefits. Now, what Sales Scripter will do is Sales Scripter will provide you a place to put the value points that you think of. So it allows you to get those into the central place. By the way, we also have a tool here called Value Builder, which will ask you questions and take you through different questions that will help you. These are the questions that I showed you on those slides. So if you click through these questions and you think of one and you can enter, and basically the software helps you with your brainstorming. And so it's kind of sophisticated too. It doesn't look sophisticated, but as you start to enter in answers in here, it starts to use your answers for future brainstorming questions. Meaning, if you put a benefit in here of you help someone to lose weight, then a future question through this little wizard will be, when you help someone to lose weight, does that lead to this benefit? So it helps you to sort of drill in and continue to expand from your brainstorming. And we're actually thinking about improving this wizard here to make it a little bit easier to use. But the point is that this is a place for you to do your brainstorming. Now, why would you want to do your brainstorming in here versus a blank document? Well, once you get your value points in here, there is an area here called the Sales Playbook. And if you didn't figure out when I said that you can use your value points in all these different scenarios, basically the software displays your value points at your value propositions at all the different moments where you might use it. So like here's a call script, and here's your value proposition at the beginning of the call script. So all of the different moments where it might come in handy to share those details, they are displayed. So there's a call script. I showed you email templates. So like here's a saw you on LinkedIn template that uses your value proposition. So here's a pre-call email. This is all using your value. I showed you a voicemail script. So here is the voicemail message using your value points and value proposition. I showed you objection handling. So here's an objections map, and you can, if you scroll through here, see these are using this shows you all the different moments where you can use your value proposition to respond to objection handling. So the key thing there is there's lots of different times to use your value proposition, and the software basically fills in your brainstorming into all those different places where you should be reminded to share that. So just want to show you that while we wrap all this up. And that is pretty much it for today. So